Hi, all. My name is Kevin Paul Shaw Broden, and welcome to the Hi All podcast. I'm an author of novels and short stories, scriptwriter for animation and comic books, and I'm an illustrator of comics and other books. And I am also a voice actor. My life may not have many interesting moments, at least to those outside my family, but I hope you enjoy my tales. And now, on to the episode. Episode 2, Reading, Saved by Superheroes. Hi, all. Welcome back. When I was young, my dad worked at a hospital only a mile away from our home. Every so often, with my little sister in the stroller, my mother would walk us along a bridle trail to the hospital, where we would have lunch with my dad. We would often stay at the hospital until he was ready to come home. Additionally, my grandparents would be patients at that hospital multiple times through the years. Because of that, there was a lot of sitting alone in the hospital's lobby with very little to do other than homework. And I would sit there and behave myself. Then one afternoon, the hospital's chaplain took pity on that little boy in the lobby and went back to his own office. When he returned, he handed me two comic books, one an issue of Superman, the other The Flash, and I loved them. I devoured them. I read them cover to cover multiple times. I wanted more. I wanted to have more comic books and read more about superheroes and the adventures that they had. But my parents had concerns and went to my teachers and the tutors at the reading game and asked, should he be reading comic books? Their answer was simple. If he's reading, let him read. Don't stop him. So I was given permission by both my teachers and by God to enjoy comic books. One after another, I would read the superhero comics. I would find comics at bookstores at the mall and at the corner 7-Eleven. Even there at the hospital, the lobby gift shop sold digest size reprint comics. I scooped them all up. Reading comics didn't give me superpowers like the bite of a radioactive spider or a green ring from some alien. No, none of that would improve my grades. They did, however, give me the desire to read more, to stretch myself and find more stories to be excited about. Though my growing education was still slow, being able to read comic books helped improve not only my reading skills, but also my interest in history. Because of those reprint digests, I learned about what was called the golden age of comic books, the early years of the superheroes from the 1930s to the 1950s. I started looking for stories that included those original heroes, including the members of the so-called Justice Society of America. I soon discovered a current comic book series entitled The All-Star Squadron. It included members of the JSA, but also many other characters that existed during the 1940s. The team's name was a nod to the JSA's original book that they appeared in, which was called All-Star Comics. The All-Star Squadron took place during World War II. Many of these characters were first published in the years just before America entered the war. The writer Roy Thomas, a former history teacher himself, wrote the tales of these heroes as if they were really part of the wartime history. A magical conceit was established so that these superpowered beings could not involve themselves in the war in Europe or in the Pacific. Because if they did, the whole war would be over by February of 1942. So these heroes fought crime and Nazi sympathizers here on the American home front and did a good job of teaching the reader about the real wartime history. The heroes met with historical figures like President Franklin Delano Roosevelt and even included some of his presidential speeches in the stories. So my interest in history grew because of these four color stories. Comics didn't help with most of my other classes, like math and science, but it did help with art and writing because I wanted to draw the comics I was reading, to draw and write my own comics. Larger books still remained hard for me to grasp, but comics would get me through that as well. I'll tell you about other books that I read and didn't read, as well as how school bullies had an influence on my reading in the next episode. See you soon. Bye, all. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my tales. I look forward to sharing the next one with you. Visit my website and socials here. Please like, subscribe, and comment below. Thank you again. Bye, all.